What if some of the most powerful gifts for your well-being were never meant to be locked away in expensive bottles or hidden behind complicated health trends? What if they were growing quietly in places most people walk past every single day without noticing? We live in an age overflowing with information. Every week there is a new diet, a new supplement, a new promise of transformation. People spend thousands of dollars searching for answers, hoping to discover the secret that will finally help them feel stronger, healthier, and more alive. Yet sometimes the answers we chase across the world have been sitting close to home all along. For thousands of years, people looked to the earth not only for food, but also for comfort, restoration, and daily support. Long before laboratories and modern wellness industries existed, families passed down knowledge from one generation to the next. They learned which plants brought relief after long days, which herbs made heavy meals easier to enjoy, and which natural gifts helped the body recover when life became difficult. These traditions became woven into everyday life so deeply that many people never stopped to question them. They simply observed, remembered, and continued. What makes this journey even more fascinating is that many of these plants appear alongside some of the most meaningful moments recorded in Scripture. The Bible is often viewed as a spiritual guide, but hidden within its pages are countless references to nature, food, healing, and the relationship between the human body and the world God created. Throughout its stories, ordinary plants appear beside extraordinary events. They stand quietly in the background while history unfolds, carrying lessons that remain surprisingly relevant today. As we explore these remarkable plants, pay close attention because some of them contain properties that modern researchers continue to study with growing interest. One of the plants later in our journey contains an astonishing collection of nutrients and beneficial compounds that have made it one of the most discussed natural plants in health circles. Another appears during one of the most sacred and unforgettable moments in biblical history, connecting generations through a powerful symbol of protection, cleansing, and faith. By the end of this journey, you may never look at your garden, your kitchen, or even the plants around your home the same way again. Our story begins with a plant that teaches a lesson many people desperately need in today's world. We are constantly told to push harder, move faster, and become stronger. Yet healing does not always begin with power. Sometimes it begins with gentleness. Imagine the fading heat of an ancient evening in Jerusalem. The noise of the city is slowly disappearing. Conversations become whispers. Footsteps grow distant. The intensity of the day finally begins to settle into silence. In moments like these, when exhaustion has taken its toll and the body has endured more than it should, something remarkable often happens. Instead of seeking force, people seek comfort. Instead of demanding more from the body, they allow it to recover. This is where aloe enters the story. Unlike plants known for bold flavors or dramatic appearances, aloe possesses a different kind of presence. At first glance, it appears simple, almost ordinary. Thick leaves rise quietly from the soil, storing within them something few would suspect. Slice open one of those leaves, and a cool, clear gel immediately appears. It is refreshing to the touch and has been valued across cultures for generations. The significance of aloe reaches far beyond appearance. In biblical history, aloe is associated with moments of honor and care. It appears not during celebrations or victories, but during moments requiring tenderness and respect. That detail alone reveals something profound. Aloe is connected to restoration. Modern life places enormous pressure on the human body. Long hours beneath the sun, environmental stress, constant movement, and endless demands often leave people feeling depleted. The skin, which serves as the body's outer shield, frequently carries the burden of that stress. Irritation, dryness, and discomfort become common experiences. Yet aloe offers a simple reminder that recovery does not always require complexity. Inside its gel are naturally occurring compounds that help support moisture retention and create conditions that allow the skin to repair itself more effectively. Researchers have identified unique substances within aloe that continue to attract scientific attention because of their potential role in supporting tissue recovery and overall skin health. While it is not a miracle cure, it demonstrates something equally important. Sometimes the body already knows how to heal. It simply needs the right environment. Perhaps that is why aloe has remained relevant for so long. It asks nothing complicated. It does not demand elaborate preparation or expensive equipment. Give it sunlight, occasional water, and a small place to grow, and it patiently waits until it is needed. There is a lesson hidden in that simplicity. Not every challenge in life requires more force. Not every problem is solved by pushing harder. Sometimes restoration begins when we slow down long enough to receive what has quietly been available all along. And as you will soon discover, aloe is only the beginning of a much larger story. As we continue this journey, it becomes clear that many of the most valuable plants are not the ones that dominate the landscape. They are the ones quietly woven into everyday life. They do not demand attention. They simply perform their role faithfully day after day until people can no longer imagine life without them. The next plant belongs to that category. Picture a small home in ancient Galilee as evening settles across the hills. The day's work is finally complete. A simple meal is being prepared over a modest fire. Thick lentils simmer slowly in a clay pot. Fresh bread rests nearby, filling the room with warmth. Family members gather around the table, grateful for another day. Yet among the ingredients sits something so ordinary that most people barely notice it. A handful of bright green leaves. Small, fragrant, familiar, Those leaves are mint. At first glance, mint seems insignificant. It is not a major crop. It does not provide large amounts of calories. It is not the centerpiece of a meal, yet its presence has been valued for centuries. In fact, mint was so common in biblical times that it was mentioned as one of the herbs people carefully measured and counted. That detail reveals how deeply integrated it was into daily life. What ancient families understood through experience is something modern science continues to explore today. The digestive system is not simply a machine that processes food. It is an incredibly complex network that responds to stress, emotions, eating habits, and physical tension. Sometimes discomfort does not come from what we eat. It comes from how the body reacts while processing it. Have you ever finished a meal and felt unusually heavy afterward? Not because you ate too much, but because your body seemed to struggle with the task. A feeling of pressure develops. Movement slows. Energy decreases. The meal that should have fueled you instead leaves you feeling weighed down. Ancient people recognized this experience long before they understood the biology behind it. They observed that certain herbs consistently made meals feel easier on the body. Mint became one of their most trusted companions. Within its leaves are aromatic compounds that create its distinctive cooling sensation. These natural substances interact with the digestive system in ways that help promote comfort and relaxation. Rather than forcing the body into an aggressive response, mint encourages balance. It supports the natural rhythm of digestion and helps ease the tension that can develop after heavy meals. The beauty of mint lies in its subtlety. It does not arrive with dramatic promises. It does not transform a meal into something entirely different. Instead, it works quietly behind the scenes. The meal remains the same, but the experience changes. That principle extends far beyond digestion. Many of the struggles people face today come from constant pressure. Stress has become so normal that many individuals no longer recognize how much tension they carry. The body adapts to this state until tightness feels ordinary. Yet over time, that constant strain affects everything from energy levels to sleep quality and overall well-being. Mint reminds us that relief does not always arrive through major life changes. Sometimes it arrives through small adjustments repeated consistently over time. A single plant growing near a window may not seem important, yet generations of people continued planting mint because they experienced its benefits firsthand. They did not need scientific terminology. Their bodies provided the evidence. Nearby in many ancient gardens grew another plant with a surprisingly similar purpose. While mint often receives more attention, this next herb played an equally important role in helping people enjoy their daily meal. That plant was dill. Unlike bold spices that immediately announce their presence, dill enters the experience gently. Its delicate leaves and soft aroma rarely dominate a dish. Yet appearances can be deceiving. Throughout history, dill earned a reputation as a trusted companion for digestion and comfort. Imagine a fisherman returning home after a long day. His meal consists of simple foods that require substantial digestion. Grains, legumes, fish, and bread form the foundation of daily nutrition. These foods provide strength and sustenance, but they also place demands on the digestive system. Once again, ancient people paid attention to patterns. They noticed that certain herbs consistently improved how they felt afterward. Dill became one of those reliable additions. Today, researchers have identified compounds within dill that help explain why people valued it for generations. Its natural oils contribute to digestive comfort and support the body's ability to process meals efficiently. Rather than overwhelming the system, dill works alongside it, encouraging smoother function and reducing the discomfort that can sometimes follow heavier foods. What makes this especially interesting is how these plants reveal a larger truth. Most people spend their lives searching for dramatic breakthroughs. They want immediate transformations, instant solutions, rapid results. Yet nature often operates according to a different philosophy. Lasting change usually emerges from small actions repeated faithfully over time. A tiny sprig of dill may seem insignificant. A few mint leaves may appear unimportant. Yet day after day, meal after meal, year after year, these seemingly small choices accumulate into something meaningful. The same principle applies to nearly every area of life. Small habits shape health. Small decisions shape character. Small disciplines shape the future. Perhaps that is why these humble plants continue to capture attention even thousands of years later. Their value extends beyond chemistry. They teach patience. They teach consistency. They teach the power of ordinary things. And as our journey continues, we are about to encounter a plant associated not with the stomach, but with something even more precious, the human mind itself. Because the next herb carries a lesson about memory, focus, and the quiet battle against mental exhaustion that affects millions of people today. There is a reason the Bible repeatedly tells people to remember. Remember where you came from. Remember what God has done. Remember the lessons learned in difficult seasons. Remember the promises that carried you through uncertainty. In the ancient world, memory was not a convenience. It was survival. There were no smartphones storing information, no digital reminders, and no endless archives available with a single click. Wisdom lived inside the mind, passed from one generation to the next through stories, conversations, and careful repetition. Imagine walking along a dusty road outside Jerusalem thousands of years ago. Travelers moved beneath the hot sun. Merchants discuss prices. Teachers recite lessons from memory. Children learn family histories they will one day pass to their own children. Every important detail depends upon the ability to remember. A clear mind is not simply useful. It is essential. That is why aromatic herbs often held a special place in daily life. Among them stood rosemary, a plant whose fragrance has been associated with remembrance for centuries. Unlike plants grown primarily for food, rosemary offered something different. Its value extended beyond the kitchen. Its sharp, refreshing aroma created an experience people noticed immediately. Today, many people face a challenge that ancient generations would instantly recognize: mental fatigue. Information arrives constantly. Notifications compete for attention. Endless responsibilities fill every hour. The result is a feeling millions know all too well. Concentration becomes harder. Focus drifts. Memory feels less reliable. Thoughts become clouded beneath a constant stream of distractions. What makes rosemary fascinating is that modern researchers continue exploring compounds within the plant that may help support cognitive function. Its natural antioxidants have attracted attention because of their ability to help protect cells from oxidative stress. While no herb can instantly transform someone's intelligence, rosemary demonstrates how small natural supports can contribute to maintaining clarity over time. Yet the deeper lesson of rosemary may have nothing to do with chemistry. Think about how memory actually works. Important memories are rarely created during moments of distraction. They form when attention is present, when people slow down enough to notice what matters, when experiences are fully lived rather than rushed through. Perhaps that is why the scent of rosemary feels so distinctive. It encourages awareness. It pulls attention into the present moment. Even today, many people report feeling more alert simply by encountering its fragrance. It becomes a reminder to stay engaged with the life unfolding around them. A small rosemary plant requires surprisingly little care. Sunlight, space, patience. Over time, it grows steadily, offering its fragrance day after day. There is something symbolic about that. The strongest memories are often built the same way, not through dramatic events alone, but through countless small moments repeated consistently over time. And while rosemary speaks to the mind, the next plant addresses something equally important: the nervous system. Because what good is a clear mind if it never finds rest? As darkness settles over the hills of Judea, another scene unfolds. The marketplace has emptied. Workers have returned home. The sounds of daily labor slowly disappear into silence. Families prepare for sleep. Yet even in ancient times, rest was not always easy to find. People often imagine stress as a modern problem, but human beings have always carried burdens. Financial worries, family concerns, uncertain futures, physical exhaustion, fear of tomorrow. Different centuries bring different challenges, yet the human nervous system responds in remarkably similar ways. A restless mind rarely falls asleep quickly. That is where lavender enters the story. Few plants are associated with calm as strongly as lavender. Its gentle fragrance has been treasured across cultures for generations. While it is not directly named within biblical accounts, aromatic plants played important roles throughout ancient life. Oils, herbs, and fragrances were often used to create environments that encouraged peace, reflection, and rest. Imagine entering a small stone home at the end of a long day. A soft scent fills the air. Nothing overwhelming, nothing artificial, just a subtle aroma creating a sense of quiet. The body begins responding almost immediately. Breathing slows. Muscles relax. Mental tension gradually loosens its grip. Modern research has investigated compounds within lavender that may contribute to these calming effects. Certain aromatic molecules appear capable of influencing how the nervous system responds to stress. Rather than forcing sleep, lavender helps create conditions that make rest more accessible. That distinction matters. Many Many people approach sleep as something to conquer. They want instant solutions, immediate results. Yet sleep rarely responds well to force. It arrives when conditions are right, when the mind releases its constant vigilance, when the body feels safe enough to rest. Lavender reminds us of a truth often forgotten in modern culture. Recovery is productive. Rest is valuable. Slowing down is not weakness. Some of the most important work happening inside the body occurs during sleep. Cells repair themselves. Hormonal systems rebalance. Memories are processed. Energy is restored. Without sufficient rest, every other area of health becomes more difficult. Ancient people may not have understood neurotransmitters or sleep cycles, but they understood outcomes. They knew which habits promoted rest and which ones interfered with it. Over generations, they preserved practices that helped create peace at the end of the day. As our journey continues, another remarkable plant awaits. One that was valued not only for comfort, but also for protection. A plant connected to cleansing, resilience, and maintaining balance when challenges first begin to appear rather than waiting until they become overwhelming. And as you will soon discover, that lesson may be more relevant today than ever before. The most serious problems rarely appear all at once. They usually begin quietly. A little discomfort here, a little irritation there, a slight imbalance that seems too small to matter. Most people ignore these signals because they are not dramatic enough to demand attention. Yet over time, small problems accumulate. What could have been corrected early becomes far more difficult to address later. Ancient people understood this reality well. Their lives depended on observation. They paid attention to patterns. They noticed how the body responded to food, seasons, environments, and daily habits. They could not afford to ignore warning signs because survival often depended upon acting before a problem became severe. That wisdom is reflected in another remarkable plant that has been respected for generations: sage. Today, sage is often associated with tradition, cleansing rituals, and fragrant bundles hanging in kitchens or gardens. But its story reaches much deeper than appearance alone. Throughout history, sage earned a reputation as a plant that helped maintain balance before larger problems had the chance to develop. Imagine stepping into a stone home in the ancient world. Unlike modern houses, there are no air filtration systems, no climate control, and no advanced sanitation technologies. Families live close together. Animals may be nearby. Dust drifts through the air. Smoke from cooking fires lingers inside living spaces. Every breath carries the environment directly into the body. Under these conditions, people became highly aware of their surroundings. They learned which plants contributed to cleaner, more comfortable living spaces. Sage became one of those trusted companions. Its distinctive aroma immediately changes the atmosphere around it. Modern science has identified compounds within sage that contribute to its long-standing reputation. These natural substances have attracted attention for their antibacterial properties and their ability to support respiratory comfort. While sage is not a magical solution, it reflects an important principle. Environment matters. The air we breathe influences how we feel. The spaces we occupy affect our energy. Small environmental improvements can produce surprisingly meaningful results over time. Yet sage offers another lesson beyond the environment. Think about the digestive system once more. After a heavy meal, discomfort does not always come from the food itself. Sometimes the muscles responsible for moving food through the digestive tract become tense and overactive. This can create cramping, pressure, and a feeling that something inside is working harder than it should. Ancient herbal traditions often turn to sage in these moments. Today, researchers continue investigating compounds within the plant that may help support digestive comfort and muscle relaxation. Once again, the goal is not force. The goal is balance. This pattern keeps appearing throughout nature. The healthiest systems are rarely those pushed to extremes. They are the ones functioning in harmony. Balanced digestion, balanced sleep, balanced energy, balanced recovery. Sage serves as a reminder that maintaining balance is often easier than restoring it after it has been lost. As valuable as sage is, another plant earned a reputation for supporting something even more essential: breathing. Most people never think about breathing until something interferes with it. It happens automatically. Every moment of every day, every conversation, every step, every heartbeat. Breath sustains it all. Yet the lungs face constant challenges: dust, seasonal changes, environmental irritants. Everyday exposure gradually accumulates over time. The effects may be subtle at first, but eventually people begin noticing the difference. A slightly heavier chest, a shallower breath, less comfort during physical activity. Nothing dramatic, just enough to remind them that something has changed. This is where time enters the story. Walk through the hills surrounding ancient villages, and you would likely find thyme growing close to the ground, thriving beneath the sun. It does not demand rich soil or special treatment. It flourishes quietly, producing an aroma that is both warm and refreshing. For generations, people valued thyme because of its connection to respiratory comfort. Long before modern laboratories existed, they observed its effects firsthand. A warm infusion prepared from thyme leaves became a familiar practice in many households. The goal was simple: support clear breathing and maintain comfort during seasonal challenges. Today, scientists recognize compounds within thyme that help explain its long-standing reputation. Thymol and related substances have been studied for their antibacterial properties and their potential role in supporting respiratory health. These compounds contribute to the plant's distinctive character and continue attracting scientific interest. But perhaps the most powerful lesson thyme teaches has little to do with chemistry. Breathing is life. Everything begins there. The first breath marks the beginning of life. The final breath marks its conclusion. Between those two moments, every experience depends upon the steady rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. Yet many people move through life without ever taking a truly deep breath. Stress shortens breathing patterns. Anxiety tightens the chest. Busy schedules keep the body in a constant state of tension. Time reminds us to return to something fundamental. Slow down. Breathe fully. Allow the body to do what it was designed to do. There is remarkable wisdom in that simplicity. Some solutions are not found in adding more complexity. They are found in returning to foundations that have supported human life for generations. As our journey moves forward, we are about to encounter a plant connected to one of the most extraordinary moments in biblical history. a small seed so familiar that it became part of the description of a miracle itself. Most people overlook it entirely, yet hidden within its story is a lesson about provision, gratitude, and the surprising ways God often works through ordinary things. And once you understand that lesson, you may never view the small things in your own life the same way again. There are moments in Scripture that seem so extraordinary that people focus entirely on the miracle itself and overlook the details surrounding it. Yet sometimes those details carry lessons just as powerful as the event they describe. One of those details appears during the journey of Israel through the wilderness. Imagine waking before sunrise in a vast desert. The air is cool. The ground stretches endlessly in every direction. There are no grocery stores, no supply chains, no certainty about where the next meal will come from. Every morning presents the same question: how will we be sustained today? Then something remarkable happens. As the dew lifts from the ground, a strange substance appears across the landscape. The people stare in amazement. They have never seen anything like it before. It becomes known as manna, the food that sustains an entire nation during one of the most challenging periods in its history.